Hey everyone, it's episode 14 of Uncolonized. I'm Gavin Stevens. Joining me again every week, each and every week, is B Black. This week, on part one of our conversation, this is the free episode that everyone who subscribes to the podcast will get. We're talking about Hussein Suleimani, the assassination, and why we think it's an assassination. More specifically, we're talking about how the West and its nationalism is going to cause us to go to World War III, I believe. After that, we'll be we get into it in part two on our Patreon for our Patreon listeners. We'll be talking about the royal family. I'm not really a royal family fan, but this whole thing with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry has really piqued my interest with the hypocrisy of British citizens and white people around the world. Not all white. I don't think I need to say that. Anyway, that's part two on our Patreon. That's patreon.com/the uncolonized. $5 a month. You get 2 episodes every week. This week, like I said, is we're talking about that and the hypocrisy of the news media. Anyway, without further ado, here we are, part one. Hussein Suleimani, B Black, and I. Enjoy. Yeah, I always start with and I don't know how to start this podcast. I really wish I knew a better way to start this podcast. How you doing, B?
I was thinking of North Boys in the house.
North Boys in the house. That's probably worse than hey, yeah. It's worse than that.
It's an alias for us.
But if you want to go by North Boys, I guess we can go by North Boys.
Or your favorite North Boys.
Your favorite North Boys.
It's like a tag to Uncolonized podcast.
But it does make it sound like we're indigenous up north, like north of here.
Yeah,
like we're Nunavut.
Oh, whoa, okay, my bad. No disrespect, Nunavut.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's disrespect. I mean,
yeah,
it just makes it sound North. Like we're like Nunavut.
They're the real North.
How is your week going so far?
Chilling, man. Chilling.
Any incidents?
Nah, not really.
Not really.
Things been chill. Things been eventful.
That's
not
good.
Eventful. Yeah.
That's good. I was trying to have like a casual way into this conversation.
Oh, right.
But no, that's okay. No, you don't have to set me up. It's okay.
Fucking improv.
Yeah, no. It's no and. That's
no and. Right.
That's improv.
Damn it. Second time I feel this.
Okay,
course.
so we just had because there's been tensions going on with Iran since the 50s, and then recently, I guess Ukrainian flight got shot down that had a plane full of Canadians shot down by Iran missiles. That was last week, right?
Yes, correct. On the 8th.
On the 8th, and they're taking responsibility for it. Apparently, tell me if I'm wrong on this. They're taking responsibility. We have an ongoing investigation. Into it to find out what's happening. But what sparked me for me to want to talk about this kind of thing, the Middle East, it was I saw on Facebook someone post a meme where it was like, we ignore a plane full of Canadians getting shot down and give full attention to a terrorist. The terrorist being Suleimani, who was murdered or assassinated. I'll say assassinated by Donald Trump's.
Who the fuck posted that?
Someone I know. Someone I had to unfollow on. I am slowly falling off of social media. Like just
I hear you. Same
barely
here,
on it anymore. Every time I go on, it's like, and I
know.
walk away. It's just so ill-informed. So yeah, that sparked me to go down a rabbit hole of like looking into Suleimani because I didn't know much about him. Mm-hmm. But the idea there's this running idea that he's a terrorist. I don't want to defend the man. I don't think he's good by any stretch of the imagination. But I think he's not as good as any American president. I think it's and based on so it should we back up? Should I explain what happened? Do you think people understand?
Well, it's just whatever. Quick synopsis or
so Trump has been impeached by the Democrats. He is impeached.
Correct.
And so his trial, I guess, I don't understand how any of that works. Nor do I care. It's not my country.
Right.
But, yeah, he's impeached, and the trial's, I guess he's going to go to trial in the Senate and blah, blah, blah. So in order to distract and curry favor, this is the belief from Republican senators, he ordered an assassination of the Iranian general, Soleimani, Qasem Suleimani. I'm butchering his name. But yeah, so so to understand who that man was, he was an Iranian general who armed and trained the Iraqi militia during Operation Freedom, when America was in Iraq fighting the Iraqi Shiites. He was the opposition to the Americans. He armed the Iraqi militia was a proxy for Iran.
There we go.
And everyone's fighting on proxies. So they fought for 2001 to 2011, and then America pulled out. And here's the thing about Suleimani. The Shiite militia wanted to attack the Americans while they were leaving. Suleimani told them, no, the Americans are leaving. We want to let them go. So he's held back. He's held back that militia many times that want to attack.
For strategic reasons, right?
Exactly. For diplomatic and strategic reasons.
Exactly. Yeah.
He was involved in getting rid of ISIS, which, by the way, America had a hand in creating. By destabilizing the region of Iraq for going in for weapons of mass destruction. Keep that in mind. It'll be prevalent later on. What else has he done? So anyway, the Trump early in his presidency gets rid of the Iranian deal that we know about the nuclear de-escalation in Iran that they all agreed on.
The one that had Obama's name on. Exactly.
And since then, Suleimani hasn't been keeping the proxy soldiers on a leash. However, no American life has been taken by Suleimani soldiers.
Right.
By that. So basically, you read this article in. Yeah. So
the Republican attacked Democrat for saying.
Oh, I'm talking about the one I read in Intercept. But yes.
Yeah, the one. Okay. Yeah.
So basically, the idea that in a diplomatic society, based on the rules, you cannot attack a ruling or a government official unless, like they cite, like in World War II, when a Japanese general was attacked in an airplane, but it was during a time of war, and he attacked. It was Pearl Harbor after Pearl Harbor, so it wasn't an assassination. America is not at war with Iran, and they're saying that he was apparently doing some sort of he was in the process of developing terrorist attacks against Americans, which
and imminent, according to them.
But apparently, based on the debriefing, that was false.
Yep.
Which is weird that America was willing to go to war on false claims. Like that never happened before. Weapons of mass destruction. So Vietnam. But
very good.
So yes, the whole thing is like what my beef is with all of this, and I'm not defending the man, or I'm not I think they're all horrible. My problem is the way, like the post I saw on Facebook is how readily they're calling someone a terrorist based, and this is where the idea of terrorism came from. He's killed his proxy army that he trained and armed has killed American soldiers. However, here's the problem: killing American soldiers during an invasion by America. That's not a terrorism act.
Right.
That's war.
That's war. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. All these fuckers who are quick to go to war forget the rules. The rules is once you're at war, man, anything fucking goes, and the winner gets to decide who's punished afterward. But anyway, that's another story.
It takes a lot of balls to call the other side terrorists, right? It'd be like someone invading America and then them calling the Americans terrorists, right? It's like, okay, come on.
You know also,
they blamed them for a missile strike on a military base that they said that killed an American, which turns out it wasn't true. Like it wasn't them; it was someone else. but they protested, and people are like, well, that's still an act of terrorism, whatever. Which I find funny because when Khashoggi, the American that was dismembered by Saudi Arabia, who is in the as they call it, the stool, one of the legs of the stool, it's Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, who are part of the U.S. They're part of that U.S. coalition. They kind of just pushed that under the rug. They just brushed it aside when an American was dismembered in Saudi Arabia by the Saudis.
I forgot that part.
Yeah, it's not terrorism. It's I think my problem is like there's no nuance in this shit, and then like white people in our country, or even white people, there's an imperialism like mentality where it's like we're good and they're bad.
They're bad, exactly. Yeah. Like an old story from the Bible.
Yeah, it feels like a Disney movie. It feels like
the villains.
And I was really angry at my wife, not at my wife, but my wife had to deal with my anger of like, how are people still buying these narratives by these people who sold us the weapons of mass destruction horse shit?
Right. These guys love action movies.
They love it, and like this, they're calling to bomb, or they want Canada to go and bomb the shit. Like there was someone on the post that said we should be bombing the shit, or why haven't we bombed the shit out of them? I'm like,
wait, are they saying that in response to that Ukrainian flight 752?
Absolutely,
of course they would say that. Yeah.
What they're saying is that it's being ignored because there's an investigation. It's like, no, that's diplomatic. We do not want to go to war with Iran. Exactly. We do not want to go to war with Iran.
Right.
Let's have an investigation.
I personally like the way Canada's handling the situation. I mean, nothing's perfect in the world, but I like the fact that they're not quick to, we gonna fuck somebody up for this shit.
Hey, let me tell you something. If Canada wanted to go fuck up Iran, you know what would happen? Canada would get fucked up.
We get fucked up. Holy shit! I'd have to move back to Haiti.
You would have to
back. I'd have to move to Haiti.
You'd have to take me with you.
My parents still have connections back there.
I don't know who these white people think they're dealing with.
What the fuck, man? They've been at war.
The fuck out of them. I'm like,
since they were born. Yeah,
right. We need to go bomb. This is the same mentality they had with like Vietnam when they went to Vietnam and they like talked their shit, and it's like, nah. Just because you don't know them doesn't mean you're better than them or stronger than them or militaristically more. Like these are people who've been fighting wars all the time.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. They live for this shit.
They live for this shit.
We fucking get a blackout and freak out, man. You know what I mean?
Exactly. and there's no nuance in like their conversation about the region. Like the region is completely destabilized over oil, over having a presence. I was just reading something about like Israel and how it's one of the three legs of America. They supported Israel after a while because they realized Israel is like a proxy state for America. It gives them a presence in America. Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt are together.
Oh, interesting.
And Israel gives them presence. America a presence in the region. They're spending in Israel. Israel has a huge influence on America, not because of their lobbying, but because they give them a presence. And what they realized, what this article was saying, was if the Palestinians were able to gain freedom in Israel and get their land back, it would ignite that with everywhere without the Middle East. People would be like, okay, well, I don't want to deal with the powers that be or the companies. It would destabilize the region for American business interests.
Wow.
Because if the Palestinians got freedom, everybody else would want that freedom, and then they would be like, okay, well, we want to make money off our own oil.
Off our own oil, yeah.
Because it's basically America and Britain separated the Middle East and split up the profits with each other.
I just learned this. Was it British Petroleum?
Yeah.
When they when I don't know what part in the region of the Middle East where they found oil first. The first time they found it, they jumped in and they said demanded 51%.
Exactly.
But I'm just trying to say, this oil game is a dirty game. That's the only point I'm trying to make. It's a dirty game. You know what I mean? It's probably worse than the crack game, but that's a different story. Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's the same kind of game because they're using people's lives to to make money, right?
Exactly.
You like when they talk about like, oh, this guy's a terrorist, it's like, okay, well, Saudi Arabia is like is a terrorist state as well. Like they do some Egypt as well. Like these aren't democratic places, but they're being propped up by America for their own interests.
Yeah.
As much as you think America has got its hands off, it's right in there.
It's right in there.
It's right in there.
They're homeboys. They're like co-defendants. No,
right.
They haven't been arrested yet. But but they're partners in crime.
And this is my problem with all of it, because I'm not trying to defend Soleimani. I'm just like, stop your horse shit with this good guy, bad guy shit. We know better. Yeah,
exactly. Thank you. Well said. This debate over whether to use the word assassination. He's a government official.
Yep.
Of a country. And this guy took it upon himself to kill him. You know what's fucked up? Mm-hmm. Apparently, the military is going to have to take some of this blame, because apparently they went to Trump and they put an extreme situation, like go fuck your mother as one of the options and kill Soleimani, right? And they were hoping he'd pick, the one in the middle. Fucking Trump's just been impeached. Fuck that! I want drama.
I heard
kill this motherfucker.
I heard that too, but what I also heard is that Pompeo wanted this guy dead for a long time.
I don't get it.
Yeah, here's I listened to a podcast called Chapel Trap House. I'm getting all my information from podcasts. Recommend this podcast; it's a good one. And they were talking about how when Bush and what's Bush's what was his vice president that ran the whole goddamn show? Cheney.
Oh, Cheney, yeah.
When they originally went into weapons of mass destruction and they went into the Middle East to fight, they used religion as the backdrop, right? A lot of their stuff was like backed because of religion. They were doing it for the Christian right. Right. And so they got a lot of that support from the Christian right and a lot of that, people who want to see the Middle East another crusades. Like people want to see that shit. The evangelists believe this is a thing with evangelists in the States. They support Israel because they want to see the Israelis and Palestinians kill themselves, because that's the second coming of Christ.
That's the second coming. Yeah. Once you guys are done, we get to see Jesus. Yeah.
We get to see Jesus. So
glorious blonde hair.
When you guys are done, we get to see Jesus. That's on the T-shirt. That's what was sold. So what happened was after Bush, those people, after they went to like evangelists and those religious types for support, those religious types like Pompeo and who's Trump's vice president now? What's his name? Pence.
Oh, Pence, yeah.
Pompeo and Pence are now in charge. They want to go into that region for a crusade.
Shit.
They are religious fucking people.
Yeah.
Like you have to Trump's cabinet is filled with fucking zealots. It's filled with people who are like extremely right. Like the dude who's a fucking white nationalist, and the other dude, and Pompeo who's like a religious nut, and Pence who's like they're not just rhetoric like how the neocons used to be under Bush. They are full blown populist right wing motherfuckers.
Jesus Christ!
So they want to go in there. I mean, for other people want to fight. People love war. These people love war, but they want to go in there for a fucking crusade. They want to go in there and mess shit up.
Yeah.
And they wanted this guy dead for a long time. This guy's been around. How come we just heard about him now? Suleimani.
Well said. Yes.
No one's talking about him before.
First time.
Right.
First time
He's been around. No one took him out. No one did anything.
Yep.
He's a government official, and based on democratic law, you cannot kill a government official. This is their own laws.
Yep. Elizabeth Warren kept asking that same question.
Yeah.
Why now? Why the fuck now?
Why not? Why now? Why is it now? Why all of a sudden when you're about to be impeached? Or you are impeached. Why now?
Try to win a second election. Yeah.
Well, you remember Clinton when he got impeached, right? Like what he bombed that medicine factory in
Motherfucker.
Africa.
Yeah.
How many people he kill?
Oh man, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, white people, man, they're crazy. Yeah.
Hey man, I mean this is I like how someone explained it. America was supposed to be the role model of how a democratic country behaves.
Yeah.
Right now, it just looks like, hey, we're the tough guys. We decide what happens. the fact, like, okay, again, let's go back to what you said at the beginning is Soleimani, whatever. He's not a good guy, whatever, right? He's not a good guy. You know, he had bad intentions. But the idea that this guy went through a catalog of human beings and said, yeah, this guy right here, yeah, I want him dead.
He's a bad guy like everybody player in this game is a bad guy. And I would argue America's more of a bad guy.
Exactly.
Like they say, he killed women and children. I know Senator Ted Cruz said, he killed women. I'm like, well, you know how many drone strikes happened last year? How many fucking women, innocent people died? How many innocent people died because someone lied about weapons of mass destruction?
There we go.
Like, come on. How many? Without even like directly killing people. How many countries has America influenced or forced governments to have coups and like do all this shit? And how many people were affected by that? Let's take us. We've been shipping garbage off to the third world country for years. You know how many millions of people die each year because of our garbage? Because they're not prepared for our garbage.
That's fucked up, man.
Right. It might not be like direct acts of terrorism, but people are dying because of our actions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've been saying maybe it's because since this as I'm getting older, I've been telling myself I've given up trying to change the world.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to observe it. And so far, the strong bully the weak, or the weak are at the mercy of the strong.
Well,
any way you cut it, it hasn't changed.
It's not going to change. It's like these arbitrary. That's why religion's the biggest con, right? It's this rule of like, turn your own goddamn cheek. And and the same people telling you to turn the cheek or punch you in the balls. Like it's so fake. It's so the game's rigged.
Sometimes I wonder the people who were raised believing that, hey, look. Bad people get away with it, or there is no vengeance for the weak. You know what I mean? You just deal with it. Do they have an advantage over the rest of us?
I think, I would say.
Yeah, because I grew up with the notion that revenge is for the Lord. You know what I mean? One day, white people will figure it out. We'll be like, oh, we're sorry for what we did to you. And I'm getting older. That's not going to happen. No. It's going to be like. Maybe I'm starting to sound like a villain. I'm turning into a villain.
No, I agree with you.
You get your vengeance when you can, and you got one life to live, and you got to make the best out of this shit. Kind of. Like that.
Man, I agree with you. I realize how horseshit the idea and how puritanical, how binary good and bad is. I was watching that. There's a documentary they had on HBO about the Pope and the Pope's right hand man. I think I've talked about this on the podcast. Pope right hand man. Right, these are the people who are like right in. Like if anyone knows anything about religion, it's the Pope's right hand man, right?
Right.
If anyone figures there's going to be a heaven and hell, it's the Pope's right hand man. Right.
Break it down.
Right. This motherfucker was corrupt as shit.
Wow.
Yeah, he was. This is how bad he was. Right. He not only molested children, he molested the children of his children.
Get out.
Yeah.
Wow.
He had people. Wow. He was doing drugs like crazy, all types of drugs, heroin.
Right.
He had kids stashed in islands all over the world. This dude was bad as fuck.
Wow.
And if
while
anyone,
being the representative,
right? And if anyone's worried about going to hell, who's it going to be?
Well, according to the rule, like as that bullet is coming to him, as soon as he says, "No, Jesus forgive me," he's still going to heaven.
I guess you're right. I guess Jesus forgive me.
As long as he asks for that forgiveness, accepts Christ into his life, it's good. You know what I mean? So just them the rules, man.
Just as you're about to die, Jesus forgive me. That's the rule. All my child molesting has been wiped away.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
All these kids going to heaven and what the fuck's he doing here?
Like, see you guys when I get up there.
Ain't that a bitch? All right, heaven is also corrupted, man.
Man. I don't know. I don't believe in this arbitrary concept of good and bad.
Good and bad,
binary
man.
Shit. That's the stuff. That's the tools they use to keep people subjugated.
Well said. Exactly.
Yeah. They keep people like you believe in religion and shit. You think you're going to be good. Nietzsche talks about that stuff. You follow religion, and in this puritanical idea of what is good and bad, and it keeps you away from having a good life.
There we go. Exactly.
Living a full life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I'm trying to remember this one story that I heard. Oh, fuck. Lady was a good track, was great at track. Ah, man. Okay, now I'm going to fuck up the story. But basically I remember growing up in church and people telling me they don't want to follow their dream because someone convinced them it was against the will of God.
Jesus
and
Christ.
I was like, fuck, man. And it's only now, I'm sure there's other churches that still haven't, wisen up, but it's only now that churches are starting to, let's ease off on these kids because we're trying to get them to come back to this church.
Isn't that the scam too? Isn't that worse than just following through with your own, like your original ideals? It's like going, hey, we're losing numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember hearing about in Chicago, Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
He's a church guy, right? You could tell by his music. But they were telling me about how the churches he probably goes to a church in where the youth group, they're very liberal. And in their mind is, we rather have these kids in church than have them on the street.
Yeah.
So they ease off. So yeah, okay, we'll have a sleepover with girls involved or shit like that. But the girls gotta have to be in a different room and the guys in a different room.
Which makes sense.
You know what I mean?
I get it.
Hey, no, it's only a matter of time before you see condom dispensers in the church.
Of course.
I'm just saying, you heard it here, man.
It's just a matter of time for condom and the pot dispensaries in church.
You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why I remember where it started making sense for me. Like, look, life is like this, and church. Life is a complex HD, and church is still in black and white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not allowing me to see it for what it really is, and that's what pulled me away. Is because I was tired of people putting lenses or glasses in front of my eyes. I wanted to see the world for what it really was.
Yeah.
And
especially like when you're younger and you realize something's lying to you.
Yes,
and
exactly.
It's like you can't trust anything. Like this is my thing with Jordan Peterson is the reason why everyone's like, oh, but he says some good stuff, and I'm like, what his self-help, which is like a lot of these type of cons do, is wrapped up in it's just the sugarcoating to some horrible right-wing reactionary bullshit. And it's the same thing with religion. And he's religious. The irony, I guess. But
the irony, yeah.
When he was talking about, I guess it was the Bill C-64 and how he's going to go to jail if he doesn't say if he doesn't get the right pronoun. And I'm like, and then you read up and you realize that's not the case at all. That's what he's representing. That's what he got famous on. I can't trust anything this man says again.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, misunderstanding people.
He's propaganda. Mm-hmm. Right. And that's the same thing with religion. Like one of the things that got me with religion was the Ark. That's the one I got. And I as a kid, I'm like, oh, this is horseshit. I realize now, they're all metaphors and parables, right? But but also religion follows those things by the T too, as well.
Tell this conversation I had with my atheist friend, and he was challenging me on the Ark, and he used the word. So let me get this straight. God gets Noah to put all these animals in this boat so he could commit genocide. And I'm like, it's not genocide.
So he can wipe out the earth.
I go back and forth with the guy. Yo, it's not genocide. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
Is.
Okay, how come is it? I'm like, because God did it.
You're becoming the person that's like, well, it's not assassination.
There he goes. Yeah,
you're that guy. It's not an assassination.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't like the motherfucker. Stop using the word assassination, man.
Isn't that the trick? Isn't that fucking bullshit? It's like, okay, so you think using the word assassination makes you? This is what they did when they did the weapons of mass destruction. Like during that time, Bush's approval rating was 90% to go to war after 9/11. Everyone wanted to go to war. And so if you said, I think we should think about this, you were so demonized. Everyone that spoke up against war were demonized. And we're in a spot now where if you use the word assassination, people are saying, oh, you're for Suleimani?
Yeah, there we go. Exactly.
Were you against him being a bad guy?
Exactly. No, it's like, you know what? Look, man, it's kind of like, again, look, Was Robert E. Lee a terrorist? I mean, yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
But we don't label him as that.
It's heritage.
It's exactly.
It's about heritage.
Yeah, man. And you know what? And the this all came from. I'm thinking of that conversation on The View. Why am I quoting The View? That's a different story. Anyways, conversation on The View between Elizabeth Warren and what's her name? McCain.
Meghan McCain.
Meghan McCain. Yeah. And first she starts out like it starts like it's gonna be a respectable question.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Hey, one day you're saying he's a piece of shit, and on another day you refuse to call him a terrorist. Why are you flip-flopping?" Some shit like that, right? It's like, hey, lady, it's not flip-flopping. I mean,
no, it's not.
What's that word she used? Two opposite things can be
two things can be can exist, can be true. Because she's saying that their government has designated him as a terrorist. Not that he's a terrorist.
Right,
the American government has designated him as a terrorist.
Donald Trump?
Right. That's what she said. She's not wrong.
Right. No, I get that. Yeah.
But you can designate like any American general as a terrorist as well, based on the criteria that they've come up with terrorism. It's like my mother. This is the thing that kills me about like when I talk to white people in this country and their view on the Middle East, and like because I feel like a lot of them think it's just terrorism out there and that's it.
There we go.
And it's just America going in there being like with capes and fucking grappling hooks and Batmobiles.
Right.
My mother's country of Guyana, they did a coup on my mother's country. They did it, but they did it not with force. They did it financially. They ousted someone in power to put somebody else in power for sugarcane, for fruits and stuff like. And they do this all the time. They overthrow governments based on proxy militaries, such as we saw with Reagan in the 80s when he fucking sold crack to give the Sandinistas money so he can fight Iran. They did all this shit. What was it? How did it work with the Iran-Contra scandal?
Iran needed weapons.
He bought crack.
They didn't have money, but they have cocaine.
Right. He bought cocaine off of Sandinistas, sold it in America, so they can send weapons to Iran.
To Iran, exactly.
Right? Like, it's this idea. Like, I question any adult who's not skeptical of their government.
And you know what I mean? I'm saying, some people don't want to think.
Yeah.
I don't have the vocabulary to explain this idea, but I'm going to try. Okay, you can help as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't really want to use the word uninvolved people, but it's as if there's a group of human beings who don't understand nuance.
Yeah.
Who fuck evidence. I don't need any evidence.
Nope.
You know what I mean? Whatever they tell me, that's what it is, right? They're stuck to that. And that's who the conservative, they serve.
They love those people.
They love those people, right?
If you don't have a library card, they love you. That's who they love.
And I wonder if these guys represent like, what did I ask at the beginning? The Neanderthals of humanity, right? And like the tough people, they got money, whatever. They're quick to action, but they're not that bright. And I'm not trying to make it as I'm better than them type of thing like that. But there's a certain category. Meghan McCain, why don't you call him a terrorist? Look, could you just admit that you just don't like the guy? And you know what I mean? Fuck the labels. Just get that you're happy that he's dead because he scares you, or whatever reason is it, right?
It's like a team sport to these people.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
exactly.
Like when I see like the people on Facebook and they're like, oh, go get and they call him a terrorist and they go the terrorist and whatever. It's like these are the same people that will deny white supremacy but defend it. They blindly defend white supremacy. You know those conversations when you're like talking to someone and they're like, oh, that's not racist, or this is, or you see that woman that fucking calling the police on the kid selling water because they're black.
There we go.
But everyone will tell you that white supremacy, imperialism, none of these shit exists.
No,
but they defend it so hard.
I don't know if there's a solution for these people.
Well,
except
here's
time will...
the thing. Going back to what you're talking about, like there's supposed to be democracy. We're talking about like how killing this man, this government official, is an act against democracy. There's no real democracy in the States. Like everyone screams about freedom of speech and freedom of speech, but we're talking about freedom of speech, which was implemented, not created, but implemented in America by slave owners. Think about the hypocrisy on that shit.
Make sense of that, yeah.
Right. Slave owners are like, every man is created equal. Think about the hypocrisy on that. Women couldn't vote. Poor people weren't allowed to vote for a long time. Like, freedom of speech is a crock of shit.
There we go.
It's a crock of shit. It's created by people who own people.
Yes. Exactly. Talking about we want freedom. We want,
and they still have that. They have the electoral college in place, which is a way for slave owners to maintain control over the voting process. Like freedom of speech. Like how are you going to talk about freedom of speech, and then have voter suppression?
Yeah.
It's illusions of of goodness and greatness and amazingness. And all this stuff that's not fucking real. It's the American. What do they call it when it's like this ideal of America being this a great place and it's not. Yeah. It's not. You're calling this man a terrorist because you think your country is the good guys. But if you lived in another country that had to deal with the shit that America does, they're not the good guys.
They're not the good guys.
Right. The worst you can say about Suleimani is that he's a nationalist. He has pride in his nation. He defended his nation. That's... He was the guy on the other side. Right. He's the guy on the other side. You might. I'm not saying we should agree with him or our ideals match up. I'm just saying it's hypocritical.
Hey, did you see that video of I'm not sure. Okay, some university in Iran, they drew a flag of Israel and America and the United States. And the idea was to step on it, right?
Yeah.
And people weren't, like, there was probably one or two who were, but the rest were, like, walking on the side, like, not stepping on the flag, kind of thing like that.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, the idea is, or recently, after Iran finally confessed and said, okay, yeah, we accidentally shot down that plane.
Yeah.
They started to protest against their government. It's like, yo, that's some bullshit, man. Fuck.
They're being very diplomatic about it because I know, like, Supreme Leader, whatever his name is, and a few other people have come out and said, "This is not America. These are not Americans. Don't attack Americans. This is their leaders. Attack his places. Attack."
There we go. Yes, yeah.
They're being very strategic with shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Was it? Yeah, flight P-75. Yeah. Hey, by the way, just to add, that flight that went down.
Yeah.
There was 63. I'm looking up this is the Wikipedia entry. There's 63 Canadians and 82 people from Iran. But it doesn't matter. 176 people lost their lives.
Yeah.
That's a sad tragedy.
That's a horrible tragedy.
Horrible. Yeah. Very horrible tragedy. But I was listening to I went to listen to the commemoration, or is that what the memorial they did in Edmonton, and Trudeau, spoke, and he used the word Canadian, like he made sure to establish that those folks were one of us.
Yeah,
they were part of us. You know what I mean? Canada. I'm just gonna say it's probably early in the game. Maybe I'm not sure, but I'm gonna say I like the way he handled it. The way he's processing, it's like, it's as if Obama helped him with that speech.
Yeah, Obama's a good talker, that's for sure.
He's a good. That's what I'm getting at, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm starting to sense like there's a new article about. At first, when I heard the speech, and I'm about to say something horrific right now, right? When I heard the speech, like, damn. It's like he really cares for these people,
Yeah.
So I went to go check the list of people on that plane, and like, wait a minute, there's not a single white person on this in this picture. It's for me, it's as if I feel like this is the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I know I'm going to say something very fucked up, but this is on Colonized Podcast, and I get to open.
Yeah, you can say
Gavin gave me the permission to say what I want to say.
Yep.
But I feel like this is the first time we've. What's the word I'm looking for? Commemorated or remembered people who died outside of our country who weren't white.
Yeah.
That's like it's anyways. It's progress.
And to say in contrast, a few months ago, we had a whole bunch of people defending and people against, but people defending a white dude who was saying that brown people or people who come to this country don't wear poppies.
Wow, right.
So,
right. Because now they're talking about everyone on that plane. They're talking about how, these like contributing members of societies, and now I want to be clear. I hope I'm not trying to sound insensitive. Like I read the names of everyone who was on that flight. Any of them could have been, someone you crossed paths with on the subway, whatever, all kinds of things. And so
in three cities in this country. Let's be honest, like 3 or 4 cities in this country. But yes, let's be.
I thought it was every province.
I'm joking. I was just making a joke. Yeah. I was just joking.
Woo! I don't know why I'm acting like I'm gonna get a call from HR here.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where you're getting HR.
Anyways, or censor board or whatever. But it is like, and it's nice to hear that. It's a nice thing to see, but on the flip side, I'm starting to think that there's some people who are like tapping themselves on the back. Look at us, we give a fuck about our non-white Canadians and shit like that.
You know what you saying that? You know what it reminds me of? It's like a Hollywood racism movie.
Oh shit!
Do you know what I mean? Like it's Hollywood racism movies like the Green Book and shit like that, or the Help. Yeah. It's like It's those movies they always invent a white person that didn't exist.
Yeah.
And it's the way you're describing it, it feels like it's like one of those, hey, yeah, racism is an individual thing. It's not in the system. It's just some bad apples.
Yeah.
There's some. I hear what you're saying.
Exactly.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. And anyway, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Like, I mean, I think that in a way it's good, but it's also like it feels like, based on what you're saying, what I'm deciphering, the idea like it gives distance to racism. Like it's another thing where Canada doesn't have to confront what it is or who it is.
Yeah. Well, what indigenous problem?
Right.
No, fuck that.
What indigenous problem? Or even how are we involved with the middle? Or like, you know what I mean? How was our actions affecting exactly? I don't have to. We're pretty good. We pat ourselves on the back. Yeah.
At first, when Trudeau announced that, hey, we have a reason to believe, or intelligence gatherings telling us that Iran was involved in the shooting, in the missile, I thought this dude signed a deal with the devil, and then Trump was going to jump in and say, see, all right, we're going to have to defend our Canadian brothers, and
that's what I thought too. But other people were saying that if it came out that it was Iran shot down based on what Trump started, he would look bad. That's because I heard that side of it too. That he would look. They would blame him for it too.
Yeah. I know it's kind of interesting how he changed his tune from we're bombing the shit out of those motherfuckers if they say something wrong, and then to okay, I like the law, I want to respect the law. Apparently, I'm not allowed to bomb cultural centers and shit like that. Well, and he was saying the missile strike might have been an accident. Like he said that even before it became news. Yeah. It's as if someone tamed Trump, or they made him take his medicine or something.
One of his, I'm trying to look up I'm trying to find the name of the guy, but one of his guys who was like one of his supporters, a Trump supporter, after the debriefing, I can't find his name. After the debriefing, he came out and was like, "Whoa, there was no evidence to support the fact that Suleimani was trying to planning terrorist attacks." So he
not Pompey.
No, somebody else. I can't find his name here, but he's a Trump supporter. He was I can't find what I'm looking it up. So he came out of the meeting after the debrief, and a lot of people were in the debriefing, Senator Sanders and all those people. But he came out and he was basically like, we need to put into place a measure where Trump can't cause any more harm. He has to go through the Senate.
Yeah.
And he was a Trump supporter based on the based on the debriefing, he was like, "Oh my God, there's not enough evidence.
Yeah.
This is
we gotta tame this motherfucker."
Yeah, you gotta. It's also like you're like you're using soldiers to fucking to distract from your impeachment.
I mean, hey, it's been done before. Trump's not going to be the first person to do that. But no, it sucks. It's kind of instead of taking personal responsibility for your actions.
Yeah.
Looks like we got to go to war with Satan.
we got to go to war with Satan.
I know I was wrong to my wife, but come on. Satan's a bigger problem. Come on. Holy shit. Sometimes I wish I went into politics, but nah.
After his name was Senator Mike Lee, a Republican and Trump supporter, emerged from the secure facility in the Capitol after the briefing. It was held to tell reporters that he was outraged by the flippant attitude of the briefers and deeply disappointed that they did not provide more information about the illegal, factual, and moral justification for the attack.
Wow.
As a result, Lee said he had decided to back a war powers resolution demanding that the president get congressional authorization for any further military attacks on Iran.
Ain't that a bitch?
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, war. What is it good for? It's bad for business.
It's bad. Well, it's actually good for it's oil, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, and if you're the guy, if you're part of the team that sells weapons,
it sells.
That's.
I was reading an article that they in Israel they went from like $23 million in weapon sales to like 543 million within like from the 70s. Onto like to the 80s, there were like 543 million of giving weapons and stuff like that to Israel, arming Israel. It's a mess in the Middle East because of the shit because of dinosaurs. The shit under the ground. It's a complete fucking mess.
Okay. They keep talking. The reason there's no peace in the Middle East is because someone's profiting off the beef. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's like, it's either the fight is there or somewhere else. But right now, let's keep it there. And then I remember watching this documentary on YouTube. Who's it? It was probably by Vox. And they were talking about how, like, to all these bigger countries, everything that's going on in the Middle East is like a chess game.
Yeah.
I mean, people are making decisions. And, man, it sucks. Born in the Middle East. And you're trying. Dude. Something you were saying that triggered this memory is I remember getting an Uber ride and my I have this habit of I get in an Uber telling myself I want peace and quiet, but then I'll say some shit that'll cause the other person to talk and everything like that, right? And then we get into a conversation, but that's a different story. Anyway, so I'm talking to this dude from Iran, and dude basically made it sound like he was a public servant just like me, worked in the government. And then he got word, and then something, I don't know, he figured out that, war's coming, I need to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that it was a peaceful country just like us, and then, it had its problem for sure, but now, look, I can't go there. Well, what was it for Syria? No, it was Iran. But the idea that, I mean, look at us. We're chilling, right?
Yeah.
Living in Canada.
Well,
And God forbid someone else becomes a superpower and decides to treat us like the Middle East.
Well, that's what happens when that's where you get people saying we should bomb the shit out of them because you live in a country that's not occupied. Nobody wants our resources. You ever notice that no white countries are being fucking attacked or invaded or having their resources sucked fucking dry? Like, is there any white countries that happening to? Exactly. But white supremacy doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
I mean, there's some shithole white countries for sure. You know what I mean? No disrespect to Eastern Europe, but I'm saying.
But are any resources being sucked out? Like, is there any African countries? Is there any white countries that are like African countries? No.
Right.
Speaking of Uber rides, I took an Uber this weekend, and the guy was from Brazil, and we started talking, and I'm like, oh, do you go back to Brazil? And I'm like, I have family in Brazil. I want to go visit, and he's like, oh, you don't want to go.
Oh, he said that. Oh,
yeah, he said that. And I'm like, oh, he's like, what? I'm like, oh, because of my brain's so bad. But who's the president out there now in Brazil?
Oh, the right wing guy there.
The right wing, the fascist.
The fascist. Yeah.
Yeah, and he started talking about him, and if you look him up, we'll get the name. Yeah, we started talking about him, and he said to me, Bolsonaro.
Bolsonaro.
Yeah, and he's like telling me about how he doesn't talk to his mom and his brother anymore because they're strong Bolsonaro supporters.
Oh wow!
And his brother said that he can't talk to him anymore because he makes him feel bad about his decisions. And I'm like, yeah, it's so fucked. I'm like, I'm seeing black and brown people wearing swastikas. He's like, yeah, they don't know. They have no idea that like they just get their information from YouTube.
Yeah. Shit.
And this is how the right wing gets powerful because people are upset with freedom of speech and things like that, and then they agree with everything the right says.
There.
And then they get the idea is like, oh, I'm tired of being called a racist, and then they go, you know what, you're right, let's go bomb these terrorists. I can't be wrong because other people feel like me, and an entire political wing feels like me.
Hey, that's a lot of brain power required to establish that.
Yeah,
I guess it's. I didn't realize I possessed a skill, which is empathy, or hey, I wouldn't want that shit to happen to me.
Yeah, but like, here's the difference, right? If you lived in a situation where an invisible hand of power has been guiding you, and like studies have been proven that a lot of people believe that a lot of people who benefit from something, I think they did the study on people like rich people.
Okay.
They believe that they were destined for that thing. Like
I could see that.
They don't see how they have a hand up or a privilege. So if you live in a world where there's a visible hand of power that guides you, where you can say shit like, let's go bomb a country. Like you have no context of what you're saying. Like there's no context in saying we should bomb the fuck of those fuckers because you don't know the history of that place. You don't know how other countries are. You don't know how that's going to affect you in the long run. You just know that tomorrow you're going to get your Starbucks. You're going to go to the gym. You're going to go to your job. You're going to come home, and it's going to be like that every day until the day you die.
Yeah.
Right? Things are going to be fine. It kills me the same people. I don't know if it connects, but the same people who complain about like the false CBC and all that shit, all the news reporting, are the same people who are using the same news articles to back their own opinions. Like that, we started the episode talking about. I don't understand how the same people are buying into the rhetoric of this guy being a terrorist. It's the same talking points as the weapons of mass destruction, same lie. But it's not. It's not that they're stupid or oblivious. It's that it benefits them.
Oh, it benefits them.
They know. Like you subconsciously, maybe subconsciously, maybe overtly, but they imperialism, white supremacy are so hand in hand with all of this religion. It's so hand in hand. One helps the other because you can go bomb the fuck out of them because you hate them because they're brown, but also it benefits oil, and maybe they don't. It benefits our country to have that region destabilized so we can get cheap oil.
Right, so we can get cheap oil. Exactly.
And maybe they're not thinking about it, but the whole thing works together where you don't have to think about it. You just have to be, they're my enemy.
Yeah.
And they're all terrorists.
They're the bad guys.
Right.
And
that's white supremacy, and that's imperialism, and it's the whole fucking thing tied together. Like, it's so insidious and so fucking so mixed together, and so like it's so nuanced that people like. Isn't it weird? Like it's like this is the problem with the right, because they're so myopic in their opinion, and they're so focused on their team, they can't see how these things are all connected.
Yeah,
through time, through geographical locations, to all of it. They just like they think everything's separate and just people are being annoying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
pain in my ass.
Yeah, exactly. And so I don't know. I just like to. So when someone says, "Oh, we haven't bombed those fuckers out of the," it's like, well, there are people like you over there.
Right.
There are people who don't want to fucking be in this, who are just living their lives. Maybe let's take it and slow it down.
Yeah, man. Yeah, when I saw the earlier days of Trump killing Suleimani, and he's talking shit, and then people are reacting. They weren't expecting. Oh fuck, we didn't think there'd be so many people at his funeral. Whatever.
20 miles.
What's that?
20 miles.
20 miles. Yeah.
Possession.
And I was telling myself though, when Trump and his buddies, I'm not saying this is what happened, but when Trump and his buddies were planning the attack, I get the feeling the word "sand nigger" came up a lot. And what I mean by that is they weren't seeing the humanity. They were saying, "Yeah, we kill this motherfucker, and everyone else will fall in line or whatever."
Yeah.
And it turns out that now he's like trying to de-escalate the situation.
Yeah,
or the people around him try to de-escalate.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is like they're not even having oil problems in the States. So like the reason why they're going in there, it's like even worse than just oil and profit. It's because a dude looks bad with the impeachment. Mm-hmm. He's trying to distract from some shit that's on him.
I mean,
like that. Damn, like that's even like as bad as capitalism is. It's even worse. That like that's like you're gonna fuck up people's lives. People have nothing to do with this shit. You're gonna try to fuck up their lives for that.
How long before smaller countries start thinking like, "Hey, you've been watching The Sopranos, right?"
I finished. Yeah.
Oh, you finished?
Yeah.
The whole season?
Yeah.
Okay. So, fucking spoiler alert. So, that episode, okay. Tony had a lot of habits of killing people he had problems with, like Ralph Cifaretto, right? Mm-hmm. Over a horse or shit like that.
Yeah.
And then and I remember the discussion that happened afterwards. Like, it's like, yo, this motherfucker killed this guy over a horse. What's the point of having rules if they're not going to be enforced? I mean, like, any of us could be next. That's, that kind of thing. I'm trying to say that United States is Tony Soprano, and they killed that motherfucker over a horse.
Well, I mean...
And the other countries are like, are we next?
Yes.
What stops them for killing us?
Yeah, but yes and no, because that is imperialism. That's what that is for,
That
right?
is imperialism. Like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. I agree to an extent, but I also believe that for killing the horse is also what they are there for. Right? Like, they're also there to, not only for oil and whatever, they're there to kill a horse because it's justified. You can do it. Like, it's like Sir John A. Macdonald killing the native people.
There we go.
Right?
Yeah.
It's justified because of trains, but he could have killed them for any reason. Because it's justified in that they are lower than them.
Yeah.
Right? It's like slavery. It's like they're not pure human. So there's always a justification to treat people like shit. And it's like third world countries making our clothes. Like, it's him doing that. Yes, it's on a personal level. Yes, it's killing the horse, like based on your analogy. But it's also that's what they're there for.
That's what they're there for,
right? He's using them. It's like, hey, yeah, you can piss in this corner.
Right.
I
guess I'm wondering. I guess
I just wanted to make a point. I'm just wondering, like, I'm like, this is all capitalism.
Yeah.
Is it all capitalism? Is this all the problems with capitalism, or am I blowing this out of proportion?
I mean, like I said, I'm just observing the world, and so far it looks that way.
Yeah, it feels like...
it's capitalism. I mean, it's this dirty game.
But it is a dirty game because it's all about value, right? It's putting value on everything.
Exactly. Yeah. We can't use you. You ain't got.
Yeah. You have no value, so I can, like. Do you know what I mean? Like, that. Who cares?
I guess I'm wondering: is there someone, one of the Americans on top, who worries about this shit is gonna blow back on us in a bad way?
Well, I'm sure.
Or is this like, this is business as usual.
I'm sure that's what we're hearing from everyone else. Is like, that's why people didn't kill him before, because you're not like they have certain rules, right? There's a game being played, like, because even the democratic rule that they have is horseshit. It's all horseshit, right? Like, you can't kill a government official. What's that? Well, it's so convenient that they're all government officials, right? You can kill soldiers, that's fine, but government officials, no, God forbid. Right?
What the fuck?
So, what Bernie Sanders was saying is, like, if you can determine someone's is a terrorist, and you go, I can kill him because he's a terrorist, and he's a government official, especially.
Yeah.
Then it's going to be anarchy, because anyone can do that to anyone.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's going to be anarchy. Anyone can do that to anybody if you start doing that. Because because now you're talking about perspective. the reason why the law is there is because we can't live on perspective. It's like, okay, well,
right.
Like if I live in a country, well, fuck it, Pompeo's a terrorist to me, right? So you're right. There's people on a different level looking at it like this, like, ooh, this is not good, and that's why they're reeling him in with the whatever.
I didn't mean to giggle there. That's why we have rules. That's why we have the law. You took me back to The Watchmen. Was it Bass Reeves? Yeah, Bass Reeves.
Yeah.
Trusted the law. I actually bought into that shit.
Yeah,
that's the name of this. Oh, that's the name of the movie. I forgot it.
The what?
Oh, that's an actual. Oh, wow! I thought that shit was fiction. No, it is fiction.
What?
Trust in the law. You know that movie that he was watching at the beginning of the thing?
Yeah.
Okay, and it goes, trust in the law. It goes, trust in the law is a 1921 American biographical silent film directed, produced by Oscar Micheaux. The film is dramatized in life and adventure of Bass Reeves, the first black deputy U.S.
Oh, so it's a real movie.
It is a real movie. Oh, blood! I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn. Oh, well then. Well, yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, no, The Watchmen for the first, it's going to sound weird, but yeah, watch the whole series, made me, okay, now I understand why people
why don't
put
you
a lot
save
of
it
faith
when
in the law.
we're going to do a Watchmen episode on spoiler alert. Why don't you save that for that so we don't.
Yeah. No, the only point I'm making is that the idea of trusting in the law, it's like this is what stops us from going down into
chaos.
Chaos. Thank you very much. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But like when you realize like the rules are like the game is rigged and the rules are changed.
That's what I'm. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like my concept of right and wrong, legal and illegal is fucked up because of my history.
Yeah.
But if shit was equal, but if shit was equal, I'd probably understand. A lot of these white people are like, no, trusted the law.
Yeah, but like here's
call the cops.
Maybe, yeah, you're right. But like, I mean, like, how? Yeah, you're right. But like, how can it be? Like the people that murdered Native people are the one that made the rules.
That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. I agree with you. It's like, how can I even like it's like what I say about FBI statistics. It's like the people killing me are making the statistics.
There was a time in this country, in this continent, where treating me like a human being was illegal.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you get arrested for that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That boy belongs to someone. Yeah. I think it's wrong to treat him like a slave. All right, go in jail, lady.
I watched this video about you know how people are always like, you can't do blazing saddles now. I didn't want to get into it now, but maybe I'll save this for another episode.
Okay,
I'll save it. We're going to record one about the Joker. I'll save it for that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll Okay. So yeah, when you hear the Joker one, you'll hear my my analysis or the analysis I watched about blazing saddles and how you can't do it today.
Nice. Yeah. All right, put these kids on suspense.
Put them on suspense. Right.
Tune in.
All right. I think this is a good one. We did. I didn't think we'd get an hour out of this, but fuck, we did.
We got it out of our system.
See, I knew we could. Like you said, I don't know much about it. I'm like, but you do know a lot about it.
I was watching YouTube videos all day.
But it's also because it's very relevant to what we talk about. Like it is very personal, even though it's big.
Indeed. Well said.
Yeah. All right. Let's.
Hey, we did it.
We did it. Let's stop it on that one. I hope you enjoyed that conversation that we had about Suleimani and America. You can listen to our next episode, the part 2, our Patreon episode at patreon.com/the uncolonized. We're talking about the royal family and the treatment that Meghan Markle has been getting for being a black woman. Anyway, that's patreon.com/the uncolonized. $5 a month. You get all our back episodes. You get 2 episodes a week and so much more. And so without further ado, I don't know why I say without further ado. Anyway, go to Patreon.